بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. في البرنامج الأسبوعي Islam and Muslims. Welcome all of you to the series of the program Islam and Muslims. Welcome back, and we will continue our series of the ideal Muslim characters. As we have talked before in the previous episode or the previous session, that the ideal Muslim is basically characters and characteristics that the Muslim should practice and should conduct in his or her life in order to achieve the level of manners and the level of attitude and practice in this life in order to meet what his or her Lord is asking them to do and to behave in this society. And we have talked about how the Muslim is to deal with his Lord, the one that created him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then we also said that how he or she will be dealing with the society that they live in, and also how they deal with their close relatives. And that basically covers everyone that lives around them, as spouses, as parents, as children, as brothers, sisters, and what have you. All these should be covered throughout our series. And in order to take it in order, as we have promised before, we need to first discuss the relationship between the Muslim and his Lord. And this is the most important one, because everything that will follow is because of that faith, is because of that belief, is because of that firm belief that the way or the reason why I am doing this and why I am behaving like this or why I am following such rules is just because I need to please my Lord, the one that created me, the one that blessed me with all these ni'am or blessings, as you might know. So we will talk first is the relationship between the Muslim and his Lord. And that should cover really that the Muslim should be first a true believer and sincere in his belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And second, that the Muslim should be really connected to him, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and constantly remembering him and putting his trust in him, putting the trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one that created him. And to always feel that he is in need of Allah's support. Having all these and talking about all this, this by itself will cover all the relationship between the servant and his Lord. Of course, we're going to go into the details of explaining each one of those, but that's in a nutshell what would cover this aspect. And to go into more details of this, we want to talk about that the Muslim should always be مُطِيعٌ لِأَمْرِ رَبِّهِ. And that is that the Muslim is always obedient to the commands of his Lord. And what does that mean? To be obedient to the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is basically, the word obedient, as we all know, is to obey, is to submit, is to basically give up whatever it takes in order to please your Lord. And that, of course, as we all know, sometimes you are submitting into these things with full happiness, with full pleasure. And this is what the Muslim should attain, meaning that there is difference between two people. One that submits to something because he has to or he's forced to, and one that submits to something out of happiness and out of pleasure and basically out of agreement that I submit to this because I want to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The second category is what the Muslim is for and what the Muslim strives to be, to reach to that level. Because we need to know that in order to be obedient and in order to have a firm belief in what you do, you need to be confident first and believing in what you're doing. And the only way to believe in it is to be happy of what you do and to be obedient, because this is what pleases your Lord and what pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whereas the first one, that is obedient to something and does not break the law, not because he or she thinks that this is what's best for the society, just because they do not want to get caught or they do not want to get punished. And there is a huge difference between the two. The end result of the two category, that they will not break the law and they will not break the rules, but the first one did not do it out of firm belief, the second one did it out of firm belief. The first one is not happy of what he or she is doing, the second one is totally happy and submitting to Allah's rule. And this is, the second one is the one that takes the reward and takes the hasanat, or as we say, the rewards for the actions that he or she does. So we talked about the sincere Muslim is humbly obedient to Allah in all matters. Now, that reflects that this person never transgresses the limits. What does that mean, that a Muslim does not transgress the limits? The Muslim in his life really live with a constitution, with guidelines, with bylaws, with things and limitations that he know what to do and what not to do, what to practice and what to avoid. These things are done and prescribed by revelation by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and put in a book that the Muslims follow, and that book is the Quran. And of course the teachings of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is called the hadith that explains the Quran in details. Now these are the guidelines for the Muslim to follow. So the Muslim knows his limitations and does not transgress these or go beyond these limitations.